to get started. Taking stuff off, I'm just going to kind of wing it. You know, something I was really surprised about, I had confused this one with the one I test drove just a couple days before looking at this one. The one I test drove had a white speedometer with a red needle. And I was kind of bummed because I really wanted the black one because that's going to blend in a lot better with the paint scheme that I'm doing. So I almost bought another gauge, and I found a replacement bezel and everything. It was going to be like $80, and the odometer would have been different. So, you know, I didn't pull the trigger on it. It would have been a pain in the butt. I was going to try and live with the white. But I noticed this when I got home. I don't know why I had that white in my head, but man, am I happy it's black, because that looks really cool. Well, I guess I'm going to start at the rear and work my way forward. Something else I discovered, and I suspected this might be necessary anyway, it needs new steering bearings. You can only tell that when you get the front wheel off the ground, and of course this having no center stand like my FJR, you can't do that without a lift. So I got it up in the air. Two ways I can tell, but one surefire way that you guys can tell if you can get your front wheel off the ground. Usually what happens is the bearings, you got two sets, one at the top and one at the bottom here in the front of your frame. They'll develop flats. They'll develop a notch, usually straight dead on. And it's from hitting potholes. If you're buying like a sport bike like an R6 or, you know, a Ninja or a CBR or anything like that, you know, 20-something-year-olds have been riding and probably wheeling, what happens is when that wheel slams back down on the ground, and you know they don't set it down nice and gentle, it develops flats in those bearings because it hits them straight on. Bearings are not designed to take that kind of load in that direction. So what happens is, instead of swinging completely naturally through the arc, it almost feels like it wants to self-center. And there's a notch, and then it just keeps going. It's not smooth. It should be absolutely the same all the way through the arc of the steering. And I can even hear them squeaking. It's kind of noisy outside, but if I shut the garage door, you can hear it go eek, eek, right there at the center point. Sure sign the bearings are gone. Not a huge deal to replace, not very expensive. Front end's going to be off anyway because I'm going to do the fork work, but it requires taking your triple tree clamps off, punching out your bearings, and either buying new bearings or packing in your own, depends on the bike, and then you're good to go. And that's normal maintenance on a bike anyway. This, I'm sure, just has to do with mileage. Like I said before, it's 42-some thousand miles. But it can very quickly develop those from doing wheelies or hitting anything hard like a curb, a crash, anything that puts a lateral load on that front end, or even a vertical, anything directly off the plane, they're going to develop a flat spot. Alright, I need to grab some tools here. I guess I'll start with taking the seats off. Looks like I need my Allen wrenches. And I'm sure I'm going to be back and forth into that tool room a million times, which means I need to move these pipes because that's going to drive me crazy. Wrong time of the year for this project, let me tell you. It's hot and my wife's crap is in the way. I have no room. I'll figure that out later. I'm just going to do some real basics, some easy to get to stuff today because it is quite toasty. Go. Should be really easy to strip this thing pretty darn quickly, almost down to the frame. It is, where did my stool go? It's one screw to take the seats off, one screw to take the bezel off, one screw to take the tank off, the saddlebags just lift off. So we should see a dramatic difference in just a few minutes. This lift is working it really nicely. Brought it up to a nice comfortable working level for doing anything down low. Go. After I get these seats off, I also need some baggies and stuff to keep with the parts. Although I'm not sure if I should keep that screw with the fender or the seat. So there's the rear seat. Comes off, you know, like pretty much any other bike. Little tab and or tongue and groove. Just slides in there. Get rid of these saddlebags. I gotta make sure there's nothing in those. I looked in one side, not the other. Now I've got two Allen bolts here, holding on the rider seat. A little snug. There we go. We had this off when I first inspected it, so I could look at the battery. That's something else I need to verify. I didn't pull the battery out because I didn't disconnect the cables, but I pulled it up enough to see that it was an aftermarket battery. It looked like there was a little age on the label, but I still want to pull it all the way out. Check the date. If it's more than 4 years old, I'll put a fresh battery in it. And if not, I will use it because it does crank over just fine. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a rather recent battery. It's a 2006, so I would imagine this might be the third battery in the unit, at least. Depends on how it was maintained. So this little bracket comes off. And these screws, I guess I should keep the screws with the seat. I'll sell the fender separately. I guess I'll keep this bracket with the rider seat. Now this should just pop off. Yep. Just a regular old tongue there. Foam support, rubber supports. That's all there is to it. No storage underneath. The only storage they give you on this is a little tiny compartment, just good enough for the factory tool kit inside here. It's not this big. I got my keys right here. I do want to see if I can get a better Suzuki or bike key. This is just an Ilco blank. It's a friggin' huge head. Yeah, it's just kind of ugly. This is the ignition key. It's a Boulevard key. Looks, you know, better at least. And this one, this is a copy of the original for the bike. It works on the helmet lock, on the storage compartment right here, on the gas cap, and then this is a replacement ignition. Whoever, don't know why they replaced the ignition in it. It just doesn't quite make sense, but I don't think I'll ever know because the previous owner didn't even know that it wasn't supposed to come with two keys. He thought that was normal. I mean the guy I bought it from. Oh, this one takes a different size. A little smaller. This is for the tank. I'm just going to loosen this one right now. Not take the tank off yet. I don't think this has ever been off. Let me grab a wrench real quick. Okay, so that's the tank. Now the battery, I'm going to go ahead and just disconnect it right now. This I know has to be disconnected, and it looks like somebody's been splicing in here. We've got some sloppy electrical tape. Not sure why maybe they tried to tie in for this extra brake light. Not sure, it's an add-on unit, I know that. Let's go ahead and, should be a 10 mil socket for the battery. Tell you what, one thing I would really love if I had more room is a nice big tool chest. That room in there, it's great for storage, but it's like a closet sized door. It's not big enough to roll anything in and out of, so not really worth the investment. I got a pegboard in there and big desk set up, so it's good enough. Put the negative off here and hope I don't lose that little brick. I hate those things. Screw it back in. Always be careful when you're taking out power sports vehicles, battery terminals, because they got the backing block in there, especially if the battery's at an angle or something. Man, that thing falls out so easily. It goes into the bottomless pit that's inside your bike. It's just a pain in the butt. So always pull your bolts out straight, disconnect things evenly, and put the bolt right back in. That way you don't lose them. Alright, let's pull this battery out and see if we have a date sticker. Should. It's an Everstart. It's a Walmart brand. Looks pretty new. The plastic isn't faded at all. I'm looking for a date. There's a serial number up here. 618014. I don't know if that's a date stamp though. The 14 might be 2014. But I don't know what the 6180 would mean. Usually there's a sticker on them. Manufacturing date or sold date. But I am not seeing anything. But it does look very recent. I mean, it doesn't look like it's been cooked. Nothing on the bottom. So I will throw it on my battery charger just to make sure it's nice and topped off. And I'll keep using it. I don't see any corrosion on the terminals. It does look like a recent battery, so good to go there. That's good. That saves me 50 bucks. I was planning on buying one. So now that can go to something else. Lots of dirt in here. I'm not gonna dig too deep in right in there. Some dings in there from where the seat's rubbing. I'll have to touch those up. Got some rust starting. Nothing real major. Alright, Sissy bar. I'm going to do that next. Get rid of this piece of crap. Not sure what brand it is. No, it's Suzuki. It has a, well, it may be Suzuki. It's got a Boulevard in here, but there are lots of knockoff Chinese parts that do that. Looks like 4 on each side to attach it to the fender, and then we've got this electrical cable coming down here, and this is for the light the guy added in. That's what these gray wires are, and yes, that's what these homebrew spliced in wires are, so I will have to do some electrical wire cleanup. Snip these wire ties, and see how he's got this light mounted in. Looks like it might be glued. Yep. It is hot glued to the back of the Sissy bar. Little piece of leather there. And looks like we have a quick connector. There's the strobe brake light gone. That is just garbage. So is the wire. I don't need to save into that. So we'll just see about taking this off completely. And I'll just leave it as an assembly. I'll just take off the wiring that he put on. Man, that is tight. Let me grab, I got my socket Allen wrenches here somewhere. And by the way, if anybody is local and you're watching this, you know, around the time I'm putting it up, and you see any of these parts that you want, I'll make you a deal you can't refuse. Trust me, I don't want to ship anything. So, real good deals, trust me. I just need to clear this stuff out. Not really worried about recouping costs, I'm worried about space. You know what? I don't need that extension for that. Whew, it's hot. It is mid-90s in this garage in the shade. I'm dripping with sweat. Looks like this one's just spinning, so that means there's probably something back here. Not. Yeah, there's a nut in there, of course. I doubt it's going to be a 14, we'll see. Probably about a 12. slightly smaller wrench. Pliers should do just fine for this. Went and got it titled on a plate today. Got my insurance on it yesterday. So as soon as I get it running and roadworthy, it's good to go. Very quick process as long as you're doing it in-state, and it was a Florida title, so no issues there. Actually went into the DMV and man, I was out in 10 minutes. There was nobody waiting, got right up as soon as I got my little ticket. Right up to the window, bing bang boom. Oh, come on now. I'm spinning the nut by hand. Didn't even need the pliers. Look at that. There's the nut. Keep that separate. What I was saying is there's some corrosion here. These are not chrome plated. They look like almost chrome stickers. There's lots of air bubbles. I mean, if it's chrome plating, it is super, super cheap. Really crappy. That's why I think it's a Chinese-made Sissy bar, not actual Suzuki. There's one long bolt, but what did that go into? That went into, looks like a spacer. It's like a nut that's molded into the inside of the fender. Maybe it's rigid. I can't move it with my hand. I'll see if I can get it out. Go to the other side. Bolt, spacer, nut. I'm going to put all these together. Do this one over here too. This one's a little tight. Washer on that one. Spacer. That one was tighter because it had a lock washer. Apparently optional. This is the drawback of having to wear glasses. I've got contacts, but man, they're no better when you're sweating like this. Wow. I'm not even doing anything. It is just that hot. Oh, you son of a... This fastener is so hot metal, it is stripping. Let me try a different Allen and see if I can get a little better fit. Maybe this key will be a little better. Another sign to cheap Chinese crap. Even the cheap Chinese Sissy bars, they're going for 250 bucks, which is ridiculous. I would sell this for like 50 just to get rid of it. There we go. So this key fit just a smidge tighter, enough to not make it want to strip. Definitely a molded in nut for this front one, the front pair. Go, spacer. hold on to this wire here, and I'm going to snip them just for now. We got one that's tying into the brake light, and it looks like the dude was just flying blind because he's got 4 wires spliced and probably taped back together. Only one of which is live. The others are just taped back together, and then one ground going through here, which I'm surprised actually works. I'll have to see what these are attached to. I'll take this battery tray out. Need some snips. These will do. I'm only interested in selling the Sissy bar, so I'm just going to take the homebrew light completely off. Got the wire run up back here. Wire ties, zip ties. Take those off. Okay, that's garbage. Snip this end off. Pull it out. And one Sissy bar ready to sell. Fair condition, but functional. Completely functional. You know what? On an older or inexpensive bike that isn't in great shape, maybe you're putting it on something like this. You don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a Sissy bar. $50? You'll spend $50. That's easy peasy. All right. Snip these guys. That's garbage. Okay, getting closer. Now, what else we got? It's getting fun now. I'm seeing progress. Guess I'll disconnect this rear light plug connector. This is for the tail lights and the plate light and the brake light and the turn signals. I'm going to need this, so I'm going to have to clean up these wires. I may be able to just snip these because I'm not going to be using this end connector. So the fact that he screwed these up, or whoever did, that's completely fine. I don't need them. I guess let's take the whole back fender off now. It should be just a matter of maybe, it looks like 6 bolts or so. I'm not sure if this is even on. Looks like we've got one here. That ran through for the Sissy bar. No, I can see through that one. So let's see, what else is holding this on? Looks like maybe these big guys here. Let's see, I got a wrench for that. I gave you guys, if you watch my other videos, a tip on getting this set of very large socket Allen wrenches. Harbor Freight, got it for $19.95 on sale. I got it for my axle bolts. It has the huge ones necessary to pull out your axle bolts, and that's used on a lot of different bikes. And it had both of them for the front and the back in the one set. And it goes all the way down to an H6. So it works on a lot of fairly normal sized bolts, but also these huge ones you occasionally run into. Now this one looks like maybe 8. Let's see. Haven't even used most of these because I have them on normal size sockets. These are technically impact, so they're very beefy. Yeah, 8. And I need my bigger ratchet. I use my breaker bar, aka my old torque wrench that I don't use anymore, as a torque wrench. Works just fine. Yeah, every time I break this out, it's fun. Every time I break this out, and I'll even say exactly what I just said. It's an old torque wrench that I don't use. I did a brake job video, did a couple FJR videos, and every time morons will comment, you shouldn't use a torque wrench like that. Gotta love YouTube commenters. Not all of you, most of you are awesome. Some of you are freaking short bus. You know who you are. Well, maybe you don't, but the rest of us do. Anyway, you're free entertainment to us. There we go. Oh, man, I'm glad I got this because it is kind of tight. I'm sure the other ones have never been off and are just going to be as tight. There we go. And we come full circle. Man, I can't wait to see this done. I have a vision in my head. I haven't seen a picture of exactly what I want. I see bits and pieces, you know, like, hey, that I like that piece. I think that might go good with this other piece, but I'm really kind of taking a shot in the dark. But you know, I've got creative juices. I know how to match color. I know how to design. I'm a photographer. I've done my share of layouts and wedding albums and all kinds of things that warrant knowing what you're doing with different color combos and just knowing what looks good and what doesn't. So I think it's going to come together very, very well. It'll definitely be a first as far as I'm aware for the specific combo of stuff. Man, these guys are chunky. One up here. I'm just going to loosen this one and then take off the other side. Oh man, that is tight. I guarantee this has never been off. Not that it should have been, but it makes it a lot easier to do some rear end service. Then again, I don't think there's ever been any service on this bike. Man, that is solid. Alright, I'm going to fast forward here. Whew. Let me tell you how much torque these are under. The bolts are almost too hot to touch just from the friction of taking them out. No joke. Woo. Spoken. Alright. I think I am about done for the day. Let's see if we can get this whole back section off. Oh, there we go. Glad I don't need that. These are heavier duty than I thought. Alright. Got some washers and spacers in there. One whole back fender assembly. Set that aside. Get the lights. Helmet lock, which I'm not going to be using. Cool. Well, right here, you can kind of see the look I'm going for. Pretty close to a bobber. Just picture a seat right flat here, just shaped like this. Tiny little hugger fender. It'll look like, nothing. The plate's going to be down here, just right on the side. And right where these passenger pegs are where my rear lights are going to be. This is going to be a lot smaller, and the whole front end will be smaller too to match. That's looking badass, man. Weird wear in the tire, a lot of cupping. It's down to the wear bars in some spots. See this spot here, it's like a triangle, and this tread goes around it. Well, this triangle part is half the depth of this center section. The profile of the tire is weird. It steps. This center squiggly here is twice as tall as the other sections. That's probably all that weirdness I was feeling. It rides like shit. Let me tell you, this is a Kenda K673 170/80/15 Cruise, K-R-U-Z, Kenda Cruise. Do not buy a Kenda Cruise. Let me tell you what, terrible, terrible handling tire. So there you go, guys. That is the end of day 3. Next, I will continue working my way forward, and we'll strip more of the bike. A couple parts I'm going to put back on, but most of them, they're going to continue to come off and get sold. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the site, TwoWheelObsession.com. We'll see you next time. Oh, question of the day. Almost forgot. I'm going to give you guys a question of the day, question of the video, at the end of each of my videos. So please feel free to comment with your answers to the video. My question is, if you were getting a bike, be it your only bike, be it just adding another one to your collection, would you get one specifically just for yourself, or one that your significant other could also ride? And let me know why. Alright, see you later, guys.